The Milwaukee Bucks are officially one of the biggest disappointments of the 2020 season. Coming into the bubble, the Bucks were viewed as a favourite to win it all, as they had a phenomenal regular season where they were on pace at one stage to win 70 games, and they were being led by the now named MVP in Janus Antetokounmpo. However, it all went sour in round 2, as the Miami Heat completely shut down the Bucks' offense and Giannis was almost a non-factor throughout it. So, what went wrong? What players played poorly for this to occur? And now, as they enter the off-season, there is a lot of questions that need to be answered. How do they improve this team? Do they need to make any trades? What is next for the Milwaukee Bucks? I'm going to be taking a look at that in today's video. If you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. I'm trying to hit 15,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so all support would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, with that all being said, let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks.
Lucas.
The Milwaukee Bucks were extremely disappointing this season. With Kawhi gone out of the East, Milwaukee seemed all but assured to make the NBA Finals at least. However, they matched up poorly with Miami. The Heat, led by Coach Spoelstra and Jimmy Butler, completely foiled the Bucks' offense, and in the end, the Bucks never stood a chance. Now, there's a lot of difficult questions the franchise must answer before next season begins, as a lot of fans struggle to see them competing legitimately again without many changes. So, let's take a look at some players that may be on the trading block for the Bucks this offseason and see how likely it is for them to be moved or not. The first player that may be on the trading block for the Bucks is Janus Antetokounmpo. Now, I think it's highly unlikely that Giannis gets traded, and the only way he gets traded in my eyes is if he asks for one. But he has said numerous times that he wants to stay in Milwaukee, so I highly doubt he wants to leave just yet. Even if he did request one too, I still doubt he would be moved. Milwaukee are obviously a great team with him, they just needed that extra piece to get over the top. So I think Milwaukee would keep him for a little while longer, and if he wanted to go, wait until free agency. There is always the chance he requests a trade. Him unfollowing all his teammates and the organization might be a sign, but who knows? But even though the rumors frequently state that there is a chance Giannis requests a trade or is traded this offseason, I do highly doubt it will ever come to fruition. The next player who I think could be traded this offseason from Milwaukee is Eric Bledsoe. Bledsoe had a solid season, I guess, for Milwaukee in 2020, averaging just under 15 points per game, and he shot a decent 47% from the field. However, Bledsoe struggled mightily in the playoffs, averaging a shocking 11 points per game on terrible efficiency. And it really just proved he is not a piece the Bucks should keep in the future. The Bucks need one thing in particular, which I'll go in more depth soon, but that is a playmaker. Bledsoe is not anywhere near the standard of a playmaking guard that the Bucks need to have championship success, and it's why I think it's obvious he is gone this offseason. His substantially sized contract doesn't help him as well, so I think the Bucks will use him as a filler for a trade for another star potentially in the offseason. Overall, Bledsoe just isn't playing at a championship caliber standard and thoroughly underperformed in the playoffs, not only this season, but 2019 too, so it makes sense for the Bucks to use him as trade bait this offseason. He's a decent player, no doubt, but if the Bucks want to improve, he needs to be gone ASAP, and with his contract, it is very possible he is used in a deal for a star that the Bucks desperately need. The only other player that I can think of that may be on the trading block as well for Milwaukee is Brooke Lopez, and that's because I think he'll be heavily targeted by other teams this offseason. If the right offer comes through, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucks let him go, but I think he is more likely to stay. Lopez provides so much great defense for the Bucks and spaces the floor perfectly for Giannis. He's just overall a perfect fit in the Bucks system, so I do doubt he gets traded, but it wouldn't surprise me if he eventually is in the offseason. So those are the major guys that I think are mainly on the trading block for Milwaukee. Everyone else is pretty irrelevant in my eyes, and moving them wouldn't cause too much change for the Bucks. Again, the only player I confidently see getting traded this offseason is Bledsoe, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. So, with that out of the way, who are some players from other teams that the Bucks should target this offseason in free agency and in the trade period? Well, firstly, the Bucks need another playmaker alongside Janus Antetokounmpo badly. The biggest issue with Milwaukee in the playoffs was when Giannis was getting held up by Miami, they didn't have another guy to step up and take control of the offense. A guy that could create shots for himself and others and be able to carve out defenses. I have two guys in particular that I believe the Bucks should target this offseason, and they are guys I believe will help out the Bucks a lot in their quest for an NBA championship. The first player is Chris Paul. Though reports now state that CP3 is unlikely to be traded to the Bucks, rumors have been swirling for a while now about this deal, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense. Chris Paul was great for the Thunder this season and proved everyone that he's still a quality NBA player, being a fantastic leader for the young team and leading them to the playoffs, a feat that not many gave them a chance to do. However, OKC still may be looking to rebuild completely for next season, so Chris Paul's future with the team is definitely up in the air. This is where Milwaukee comes in. Milwaukee is a team ready to contend and needs the use of an elite playmaker like Chris Paul. Paul may feel inclined to go to the Bucks, as with him, the team could almost be guaranteed a championship, and I think the pairing of Giannis and Paul would be fantastic. Whilst Paul does not need the ball in his hands a lot, he can still be a good floor spacer for Giannis when he takes it up, and I think the combination of Giannis and CP3 could be very reminiscent of the Lob City era. What the Bucks really need Paul for though is the playoffs, and that's when half-court basketball comes into play more often. No offense to Giannis, but he's very one-dimensional, and Miami showed to everyone just how to slow him down. With another guy like CP3 to worry about, situations like that don't happen, as there are multiple focuses of players to guard. This would 1. Give Giannis more space and freedom that he needs in the playoffs, as I'm assuming CP3 would have a substantial gravitational pull, and also 2. If Giannis does again struggle, Milwaukee will have that all-star level playmaker to rely on instead. This then assures the ball won't end up in the hands of a guy like Bledsoe, and thus making the Bucks a much more deadly and legitimate threat for the NBA championship. The only problem here is Paul's contract, and the Bucks would likely have to give up a lot to receive him. I think it is worth it though, and if Milwaukee is offered the right deal where they don't give up too much like the Clippers did with Paul George, then I think they immediately pull the trigger on a deal for him. The second player I think the Bucks should go after is Goran Druggage. Druggage is entering free agency this offseason as an unrestricted free agent, and though it's likely he returns to Miami, especially with their success as of late, I think it's always worth a shot that Milwaukee attempts to scoop him up. Druggage would be a great fit in the Bucks system, as he can shoot reasonably well, he's extremely consistent, rarely having a game under 20 points these playoffs, and is an underrated playmaker. Until recently, no one even realized he was dropping 20 on the regular, and he's been a crucial piece to the Heat's phenomenal playoff run. To acquire him, the Bucks may have to go into the luxury tax, which they didn't want to do with Brogdon, which is why they lost him last year. But I think they now realize that was a mistake, as a report states they are willing to go into the luxury tax now to help out Giannis's championship goals. Overall, I think Druggage would be a great addition to the Bucks roster and could potentially help them get over the hump that they've struggled to get past these past 2 years. So those are the 2 players I think the Bucks should heavily pursue in this year's free agency and trade period. Is there anything else the Bucks should do though? At this point, I was going to say Mike Budenholzer must go. His lack of adjustments in the playoffs cost Milwaukee completely, and I think he deserved to be fired for that. However, he was announced to be returning last week, so that idea is out of the window. Apart from that firing, there really isn't anything else I believe the Bucks should do. I think this roster has proven they can compete for a title, they just need that something extra to push them over the top and into the NBA Finals. But blowing things up now would not be a wise decision at all, in my opinion. So overall, this is what I believe the Milwaukee Bucks must do next in order for them to get to the finals for the first time with Giannis next season. I think trading for another playmaker is vital, as due to Giannis being so one-dimensional, it makes the Bucks offense very predictable. That's not intended to be a knock on Giannis either. He's an amazing player, but it's obvious he needs another elite playmaker or shot creator to help him out. I think getting a guy like Chris Paul or Goran Druggage would suit the Bucks' needs, and I think getting rid of Bledsoe would help these ideas come to fruition. At the end of the day, it's been an unfortunate couple of seasons for the Bucks. They're a team with so much potential, and they've made a couple costly mistakes that would have guaranteed them at least a spot in the NBA Finals this season. However, with the moves that I've mentioned, I think the Bucks can ensure they yet again have success, and this time perhaps they'll secure a spot in the NBA Finals, a series that has now eluded them for the past 2 seasons. And that will conclude the video. What do you guys think of this? What should the Bucks do next in your opinion? Is there anyone they should trade for in particular? Let me know all your thoughts on this down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.